Welcome back to another episode of Faith Talk with your host, Akriba, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company. Tonight is no stranger joining me. She's been with me before. I'm so happy to have her back with me again. And trust me, you're going to be blown away because she was here and she shared her life journey years ago. And the Lord has done so much more in this young lady's life. She's no stranger to me. She's probably no stranger to you. So I welcome back to the couch, Nyisha Tilus.
Hi.
Nyisha, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am blessed.
Awesome.
It's so good to see you.
Likewise.
So much has changed.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
Starting with the hair.
Right. The hair, and you were long, and now you transition. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But just before we get into it, Nyisha, that was about 4 years ago. Was it?
Yep.
Was it
2018?
2018? Wow, time has gone by. 2018, you joined us on the couch. At that time, you was the reigning Miss UB, or you had just
given up my crown.
You had just given up the crown.
Yeah.
And of course, you had thoughts of going into some other pageants.
Yes.
But you said you were being still because you were waiting on the Lord.
Yeah.
And so much has happened, and we got a lot to catch up on. But just before we do that, I just want to share this very special moment with the guests to see what had happened on the show that night so that they can be able to correlate what we'll be talking about.
All right.
So take a look at what we're about to show you. Nyisha's goal is to bring the first crown back to the Bahamas, and we are depending on that. Juju says, man, I fell asleep and the headphones in my ear. I missed so much, but I must say, you are so articulate from beginning to the end. Amazing. Mr. Bolag is placing like 3 women there with the crowns on the head. Yeah, man, we rooting. I'm going to be going crazy for Nyisha. I mean, I just want to see, Felicia says, amazing, top 5. I just want to see, we've never had the crown come back home. Have we ever, Fadi? I don't know. We've never had a crown come back home. That will be history, man. Like, we really, I think the Bahamas, we deserve it. Everyone wants to come here to vacation. So, Nyisha, yeah, man, I am there too. I'm there too. And that's the mindset that you have to have. You have to go there with, I'm not just going because we have to have, but I'm going there to bring it back home. I'm not sure if every queen that goes go with that goal. I cannot say. But I guarantee you that if you say, God, I am going there to bring it back, and you go there with that, you bringing it back. I mean, you cannot, I don't care how many Filipinos, Cubanos, breast implants, butt implants, Colombians standing there. I know that I'm standing there with the king, and he is going to make sure that I come back home with this crown. And we deserve it. The Bahamas, we deserve to have an international crown. And so, boy, Faith Talk tonight, we are agreeing, right, Christoph, that we are going to have, but I'm going to be rooting. You just let me know when you're going to go. I'm going to be shoving my head off because guess what? I'm sitting on the couch with the soon-to-be Miss Universe.
World.
Yes. Yes, I am sitting on Faith Talk. Wow, Nyisha, wasn't that amazing?
It was.
I know. So we're going to get right into it. So, Nyisha, what's been going on with you?
Oh, wow. Especially after that clip.
Yes.
So that was in 2018, as we just mentioned. At that time, I was interested in competing again. I had just gotten done with Miss World Bahamas and placing top 5 at Miss World Bahamas, and had just given my crown up as Miss University of the Bahamas, the first Miss University of the Bahamas. And we did have some persons kind of poking around to find out which pageant we'll be going to next. But I ended up competing in Miss Bahamas Universe in 2019. And placed first runner-up in that pageant. That was a God move.
Oh my God.
Honestly and truly. Everything I needed for that competition was just in place. The sponsor, the director, literally everything was in place. I literally just had to make the first step. And everything lined up. Now, I will be completely honest, and I've shared some things with you as well while on that journey in terms of how I expected him to do it, but that's not what he had in mind. And that was so interesting to me because I was this close to the crowd.
I'm serious. Like, I watched it, Nyisha. I was there like, oh my God, she got this. I was there.
this close.
I know.
It's like, Lord, I could touch it.
I know.
I know what you say.
Yes.
And you can't lie.
Yes.
So I went back the second time.
Yes.
I went back in 2020. And that time it was really interesting because it was a pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah, and the dynamics just was...
Everything changed. It was
yeah,
different.
it was. And for me, I went back because I'm like, Lord, there's no way you could have me touch and sign this Miss Universe crown and I'm contract.
Yes.
Because as first runner-up, if something happens to the queen, you have to be ready to go.
That's right.
And as part of that, I was able to read through the Miss Universe contract. I was able to put my John Henry on there.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, there is absolutely no way you can have me be this close
Yes.
and I not go.
Oh my God.
And so, regardless of what it looked like in 2019, I was still believing to go to Miss Universe.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so that led to, before I actually signed up to compete during the pandemic, me having a conversation with the national director. And this was literally in January, February of 2020, before the pandemic really, really started in March.
Right.
I would have reached out to him to try to have a meeting with him. The Lord led me to write a letter to him. And in that letter, you know, I share with him that I'm the first runner-up, the queen had already gone, come back, and I would have made a recommendation to him to have, to crown me as Miss Universe Bahamas 2020. And in my proposal, in a sense, I listed all of these things that I was able to bring to the table and how he'd be able to utilize me to promote the pageant, build morale, retain contestants, and it was nice. Like, if I do say so myself, because
Yes.
the Lord, like, no joke, is at first when it was placed in my spirit, I was like, not really sure how it's gonna go or how it would be received or what to even put in it. But as I started to write, like, it just flowed. It just flowed. So I met with the director. I gave him the letter, and it wasn't as well received. And I'm like, Lord, what is this? Because I wasn't gonna do this on my own.
Right.
Like, you told me to do this, so what is this?
Yes.
I did it. And interestingly, everything that I had in my proposal to do, it turned out that he wanted me to do it as part of their team, but not as part of their title holder, like not to be their title holder.
Right.
Because they would have had pageants, the expectation was that they continue to have pageants, which I understood. But I'm like, Lord, this can't be it. Like, this can't be it. And a few weeks later, shut down. It was a pandemic. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, Lord, I see you. Because if they have a pandemic, they can't have a pageant. And if
Right.
they can't have a pageant, then they could just crown me. Like,
Right.
I see you moving. I see your hand.
Yes.
I see your hand. And so I'm waiting for this call to say, you know, we can't have a pageant, so we'll send you. Call never came.
It's okay. It's okay.
The call never came, and I came up with 1,000,001 scenarios of how he would have done it.
Wow.
And it didn't happen that way at all. It led to me signing up to compete in their virtual boutique screening in 2020.
Right.
Where I placed second runner-up, and I was completely devastated. Because, Lord, how I go back from the first time?
Oh, wow.
How? Make it make sense.
Right.
It don't make sense, you know? And during that time where I'm like, you can't lie. And that was the only thing that I kept saying to myself, like, you cannot lie. I know what I heard. I know what you've told me. And not only did you tell me, you've told other people to tell me.
Yes.
And you can't lie. So what's going on?
Wow, Nyisha. And so in the midst of all of that, because, you know, I know that this is leading up to the good stuff. I mean, because we may have spoken during the pandemic. I'm sure we would have checked in. But something interesting happened, Nyisha. Like, you know, in the midst of the pandemic, you saw the hand of God in a mighty, mighty way. And even looking back at that clip, it may not have been Miss Bahamas Universe, but you still competed with the universe. Let's talk about that, because you ended up in Poland. And I remember when you was preparing for that, Nyisha, oh my God. And that, like, I was so excited because I'm like, oh my God, from a small island, from a little island, just share with the viewers, like, just a little bit of how you got involved with this pageant and what led you to this platform.
So during the time of trying to figure out, okay, Lord, what are you doing? He led me to another pageant, which was one of the top 5 international pageants in the world. It's called Supranational. And so as I'm scoping out this pageant, and interestingly, the director of Miss Bahamas Universe would have recommended this pageant to me after I gave him the letter to crown me.
Wow.
But it was something that I wasn't comfortable with because my thought process is, if I have to do everything myself, then I don't really need a third party or a middleman, so to speak. I can just do it myself, which is what I started looking into. And so as I'm inquiring on the contract and all of this great stuff, I got it. I see the price for it. I'm like, oh, Lord, it's a pandemic. How are we going to do this? And no joke, I signed the contract on faith October 13th. I signed the contract, not knowing how I would pay to go off to this competition. And the following day, I see a post for a international virtual pageant called Superstar Search, where if you win this virtual pageant, you will get all expense paid to go off and represent your country to the pageant that I just signed the contract for. And so I emailed the director and I'm like, hey, I know I just submitted my signature on this contract to represent the Bahamas, but I see there's a virtual competition for countries without a director, which is what the Bahamas was in at that time. And I'm like, can I, go this route? Mm-hmm. And he sends me an email back and I still have it and I still look at it. He was like, sure, you can, but know that there can only be one winner. I closed the laptop and I said, that's going to be me.
Amen.
And I started to partake in this virtual competition where I won out of 44 other countries to represent the Bahamas and Poland.
I think, wasn't this, I just want to get it corrected because it's been some time. Mm-hmm. You had to vote.
Yes.
Oh my God, Nyisha, I was voting. Like and I was watching because at that time I was on social media, so I was watching and I saw you just keep going up and I was like, oh my God.
When I tell you God showed up, prior to, I had this dream during my competition time for Miss Bahamas Universe in 2020, where he showed me the route to take. It was like this race, like I was racing with a bunch of persons, like a marathon of sorts.
Right.
But instead of going the route everyone else took, he showed me 3 specific routes that I needed to take, and then I ended up coming first. In my mind,
right,
I thought it was for Bahamas Universe.
Oh my God.
It wasn't that. After I got through with Superstar Search, I realized there were 3 rounds of Superstar Search. And he showed me exactly which route, who to talk to in order to ensure that I positioned myself for all 3 of those rounds to win that competition.
Oh my God, Nyisha.
He showed up. To the point where there were instances, I remember a specific, and I posted, I barely post myself crying on social media unless you catch me slipping, right? But I had to post it because he moved. There was an instance they were about to cut from, I think it was 10 or 15 to 5. And I'm like, Lord, I know I don't have the votes because I'm calculating.
Right.
I'm looking at these persons who are throwing hundreds of dollars into votes. I'm literally calculating each round because it's a cumulative process as well. So I look at, okay, how much did I have before? How much do I have now? What does this look like? Where do I fall? And they're about to do a top 5. I'm 9th. Like, how is this going to work? I cried like it's nobody's business. I'm in my office at work crying. I still have the video of me crying today. And I still have the paper with my tally and where I fall. And I remember even when putting where I fall, I would not put the number of where I was. Like I'd put the country and where they were.
Right.
But I wouldn't put where I would rank.
Yes.
And I wrote my name on the side. I put it away. I closed my phone. And I just started listening to worship music. And I'm like, Lord, I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
I realized the deadline had passed for the votes, and that a certain period afterwards, he'd sent a general message to us. And I go and check it, and he was like, the scores are too close, so we're going to have to do a top 8.
Woo!
And I was like, but I didn't even make it in the top 8 in my mind, because I'm already ranked it all up. Like, it was great, you know? I know I couldn't do top 5. When I look, I was in the top 8. When I told you, like, on the floor, bawling, ugly cry, all of it, because his goodness.
Yes, Nyisha.
Like,
it's okay. Because it's where you belong. And Nyisha, I'm telling you, when I saw you, I just went back. You know, sometimes we have to go back over our life and just see
where God has brought us from. And I looked back and I was like, this girl sat here and she shared her journey and she's just soaring. It may not have been the stage that we would have spoken about, but she's still competing with the universe. Nyisha, I was excited. Like, I was in Poland and I followed your entire journey because I was like, the Lord is doing this, you know, and it was just, Nyisha, you was with every country. Listen, every country, you've gained many sisters,
Yes.
so many connections, so many things that has even opened other doors for you. I realized that, and I was shocked with this, Nyisha, that you have your own pageant. I gotta jump in this right quick. I didn't want to hop the gun, but I have to do this. I mean, you were so inspired that you opened your own platform, and I think you hosted your very own. Oh my God. Nyisha,
God.
please tell us, because I believe now that you're rearing these young women up for those stages.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that you overcame to make sure that they don't, you know, because God would always give someone that burden to bear to make sure that others don't bear that. And so what are you doing with this pageant and this platform, and how's that been going?
It's so crazy because as I was competing in Poland, the then director of Miss Bahamas Teen reached out to me, and I told her, you know, I'm not in town as yet. I'll be back at a certain time. If it had not even been a week after I got back, we connected, and she shared with me that I think you should take this pageant over. And I'm like, whew, I just came from a pageant.
Wow.
I don't really know if I'm the person for this. I prayed about it. I had some reservations at first, but it just kept nagging at me. And I finally told her that I would do it. And after, you know, several conversations and kind of figuring out what it would look like, I became the owner and director of Miss Bahamas Teen. So I run my own teen pageant. And I had my first pageant last year where I sent 3 girls to represent the Bahamas to Miss Teen Universe. And she did a phenomenal job. She placed in the top 16. Miss Black Teen International Ambassador, she was second runner-up. And Miss Teen Spectacular. And she shut the place down over there in Dominican Republic as well.
Oh my God. But so Nyisha, like your dream, you know, sometimes people say, well, you know, you want it, but now you're allowing these young girls, you're living the dream through the, oh my God. I hope the viewers are understanding this, Nyisha. I mean, the Lord has taken you to a higher dimension.
It's not always for you.
That's what I'm saying. And sometimes we try to figure it out. You know, His ways are really not our ways, but His ways for us are perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is, it is just beautiful, Nyisha, just watching you soar, just watching that go along. I mean, and I know, oh my God. I mean, so what's next for the pageant? What's next? Because how does the girls feel? I wish that one of them or 2 of them were here, but they're not here with us. We should have thought about that, but we didn't. It's okay. Next time we can run it back. But how are they feeling? How is their confidence level? How do they feel being exposed to this arena?
So my goal is always to consider their experience first. Especially when I think about all of my pageant experiences, right? And finally being able to experience what it was like to go off internationally and have the Bahamas across your chest and just represent the Bahamas. And for me, as mentioned, there were instances where I had to do it all by myself.
Yes.
And so now to be able to create this platform for them where they just show up and represent.
I love it.
That's been something that I've been really passionate about. And more so passionate about the teen pageant.
Yes.
Because for me, I've been asked to do several Miss pageants, but I understand that in other countries like Venezuela, Colombia, they start from young. And while we aren't in a position to do so just yet, I see them as the Miss Universes and Miss Worlds. And so for me, my way of sowing that seed is with this teen pageant. And I've seen their like my current teen queen now, Tamoya Walton. When I tell you,
I saw her. She got to walk. Y'all can't teach me
she
that.
said, I doing the Miss Nye. I was like, what is that?
Miss Nye.
They call me Miss Nye.
Oh my God. Nyisha. Oh my God. Miss Nye.
She's like, I'm doing the Miss Nye.
The Miss Nye walk. So
what
graceful.
Is that?
I'm still trying to, I wish I could get up now, y'all. I'm still trying to get this walk, man. That's what I'm saying.
We'll make it happen.
Gotta make that happen
We'll make
for
it
me.
happen.
But
We'll make it happen.
it's beautiful. So Nyisha, do you think, I mean, after hearing about, Venezuela, you said Colombia, these places where they rear them up from very young, has that been something that you've considered?
It is. It is, because I've always had a passion for kids, right? A lot of my work prior to even when I attended college was to become a clinical child psychologist, because I love children. I love to be able to pour into them and kind of mold them into the upstanding citizens that they should be, right? And to be that role model to them that I didn't have when I was younger. So it is something that I'm passionate about. I launched my pageant agency company as well.
Oh my God.
And so I'm making the steps, right? I'm making the steps to, one, starting to create more educational platforms for pageantry in the Bahamas.
Yes.
Sharing what it's really about, how it's really judged, so we're not always upset after the finale.
Yes.
And how we can truly support our delegates when they go abroad, right? And how we're able to kind of show her the love that she needs, especially when she is there competing.
Yes.
Because while I was there were times when I was a little low. And so when you're at that low place and you're in a country that you don't know and you're not around people that you know, you go back to home to try to pick yourself back up, right? And so I want to be able to offer this platform and host pageant conferences and workshops and seminars where they're able to enrich themselves. And I said this last time, and I'll say this again, not to walk before a man, but to walk before the king, because that's where I believe that transition will happen, right?
Yes.
That's where you transcend and stand out amongst all of the other delegates when we realize that it's about walking for that audience of one.
Yes. So you're giving them a portion of a spiritual enrichment as well.
Of course.
Which is very, very,
that is
very
necessary.
Important. It is.
Necessary.
It is. So the agency does what? This is what the agency is doing.
Yes, which is different from Miss Bahamas Teen, but the agency produces Miss Bahamas Teen. So I'm able to kind of shape the training curriculum and have speakers come in and pour into the girls. One of the things that I want to do is offer a more of a mental health approach as well, and have a counselor on team, because they go through a whole lot.
I can imagine.
And while I think I went through a lot when I was young, hearing some of the things that they're going through and what they're struggling with and battling with, wow. Literally is all I can say is wow, and just being able to keep them in prayer, and I also connect with their parents as well.
Yes.
So one of the things we do is we host or facilitate a parents group. So it's not just the contestants, but the parents also, so that we give them information and we help them on how can you support we call the person to the child, your Royal Highness.
I love it.
Because there are instances where it's the sister, the Grammy, the auntie, and not necessarily the mom or dad supporting. And so no matter who you are, if you're supporting a delegate, you'll join what we call the Royal Guard. And your job is to guard your Royal Highness. And we give you the tools and the skills to be able to do that.
It's so very it's so beautiful, Nyisha. And you're feeling fulfilled, right?
I am.
You wake up feeling like...
Even when I tie it, I don't know where I find the strength to do it. It's just, I literally think about it all of the time. He downloads like, okay, you need to do this. You need to reach out to that person. You need to implement this. You need to take away this. I don't want you to work with this particular person. And I'm very mindful and intentional. And I told that to the founder when she approached me about it. I'm like, I don't just do any old thing, right? And I don't play when it comes to young people.
I know.
Because they're in so many different spaces and being fed so many different things.
Today is very different.
So I need him to really tell me what he wants me to do, because I don't want to be the one responsible for taking them outside of what he has. Amen. So I need to hear from him about what I need to do with this.
Amen.
And so it's only when I heard about, okay, go, and this is how I want you to go, and this is who I want on the team, is when I moved. Because Lord knows, and I have little brothers, and so I think about them in terms of, okay, who's pouring into them? And I take that same mindset with any young person that I work with. What am I saying to them? How is it affecting them? How is it benefiting them? What value am I adding? And if I don't think I'm going to add value, you don't have to worry about me.
That's powerful. Talking about brothers, Nyisha, our deepest condolences to you and your family, your lovely family, your mom and your siblings. I know that you lost your little brother, and he held a special place in your heart, and he was also your platform when you held the title. And I know that God has now given you probably something else to do with that.
Yep.
How has that been? Because even through that pain, I know that purpose was birthed as well. So how has that been?
It's been interesting, especially when everybody asks, how are you? How are you? How are you?
I know.
And to be honest, my only response is I'm here. And when I say I'm here, it's a little loaded, but for me, it's like, okay, you showed up today.
Yes.
So whether I'm in class and a classmate asks me I'm here, at least I'm in class,
Yes.
or at least I'm to work or wherever I'm at, and even if I'm doing stuff for Pat, I showed up.
Yes.
And for me, just pushing to show up, and me and the big guy having a little dialogue about some stuff.
I know.
But interestingly, the day after it happened, I went to church, not because I wanted to, but because I refused to let the enemy win.
Yes.
Especially because of what he meant to me. There's no way, absolutely no way, I'm going to let him walk over me.
Amen.
And so I was upset, but I sat in the back and I showed up because I didn't want to go. I'm like, because I don't want to go, I see you.
That's right.
I see you, and I'm just going to go, even if I'm just
You're
there.
gonna push. That's right.
I'm going to go because I refuse to let the enemy win.
Amen.
And there's no way in hell. He's gone, and it's going to be in vain.
That's right. There's work to do.
Not
on Nyisha's watch. That's what I told the team. I told the coordinator, I said, reach out to Nyisha. She's okay, because she's, like you say, she's going to show up, and she's not going to say no. She has work to do, and she's probably, I see you have something coming up. I know we got to wrap up. You have something coming up shortly on the 5th, or something passed.
Something passed.
Ah,
I had
right.
a pageant brunch.
Oh, you see that? So you're working. So I told the team, I said, no, she's out there working. Tell her come. She's coming. She's showing up. And that's the word there.
Yeah.
In the season, you're showing up.
You have
and
to.
that's what it's all about.
Because you miss the person you're called to.
Amen. If you don't show up.
If you don't show up.
Oh, my God.
So that's why. And literally at the brunch, I told them, like, I don't really want to be here.
But
I'm here. Because one of y'all need me. One of y'all needs something I'm about to say.
Gotta show up. How's Fanny?
Oh, she said hi.
I can't go without saying hi to Fanny. Fanny, I love you. I love you.
She said hi. Definitely was like, hey,
yes.
I'm going on the show.
Yes.
Back.
Yes.
But she's good.
Amen.
She's good. She's in this space. She's been doing the thing.
I know.
She's been doing the thing.
Fanny's been doing it from what, 1988? I think that's it, or 1987, or 1989, that beauty queen. Fanny's been doing it, but much love to you, Fanny. I really love Fanny because she's been your mother behind this whole pageant thing, and that's what we all need. And now your mother and Miss Nye, and so we love you for that. We love you for that. But we have to wrap up now. It's been great catching up with you, Nyisha. And of course, we don't close the show unless I allow you to give some words of encouragement or something to someone watching right now who may be walking through a difficult time and they still need to show up, or someone who may be interested in the journey or the platform that you have. Yeah. Take it away.
So my word would definitely be to show up, whether, you're going through a hard time, whether you don't know, what's next, right? Because in this space, especially after the pandemic, we're all exhausted. I know I can say the same. And there are moments when we just don't want to, but that's the moments when we need to push. Even as it relates to my platform or pageantry or anything, right? There's so many things that's in us, and we're not showing up for those things, for ourselves, and for the people that we're called to. And so my message would definitely be just to show up. Whether it's just by taking that first step, sending that first message, making that first call, just show up, and he'll do the rest. And I'm literally walking in that every single day, because there are moments that I'm like, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to do it. But just by getting up and putting on a little makeup or having someone else do it for you, I'm able to just kind of have him, or give him rather, permission to move through my agenda and do what it is that he has to do.
Amen. I love it. So Nyisha, in case the guests don't know, you have so many platforms now. So socially, how can they connect with you?
So on all platforms, I am Nyisha Tilus. So that's I am Nyisha, Nyisha Tilus, Tilus, on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on TikTok now. Woo! And YouTube.
All right. And so the pageant pages.
Yeah, so all of the pageant pages are actually linked to my page as well. So if you go on my page, you'll find it. But on my pageant pages, they are MBT pageant on all platforms.
Awesome. So if you're interested in being a pageant queen
Yeah.
or wearing your highnesses up with Nyisha, feel free to connect with her on social media. But until the next episode, may the Lord be with you, may he keep you, and may his peace be with you always. God bless you. Good night. Thank you.
It is our prayer that you are blessed by this episode. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to receive notifications of new uploads. God bless.
I just wrapped up my session here at Faith Talk, and it is always amazing being on the couch, sharing my experiences after my reign as Miss University of the Bahamas and what God has done in my life. Just having the opportunity to sit here and share with all of you and to experience the love of Kiki has always been phenomenal, and I didn't expect anything less.
Do you have a life story to share that you know only God could have brought you out? One that can change someone's life for the better. Become a guest on Faith Talk by emailing faithtalklive7@gmail.com or send a direct message on Instagram at faith_talk_. We look forward to hearing from you.